What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into it, my friends. Here we are at about 96.7K right now. We are just moving sideways, aren't we? Let's look at this on a daily aspect. Yes, we are. I had to check, double check, but absolutely we are moving sideways, man. We've basically closed in the same area within like a percent up or down. Sometimes not even like a percent of a percent since February 4th. It's the 14th now, man. So for 10 days, this is very boring. I'm bored. I don't know about you guys. It seems like people are bored. And I was going over something. I want to talk about something briefly that I mentioned in one of my videos that I made tonight, just to get people on the same page that I'm at. This fear and greed index on coin market cap. I used to use the crypto fear and greed index here, and just be aware. You will probably have your retinas burned. I like this site. I really like this site for years. It's got more data. Man, that thing is bright, isn't it? You're at a 48. I like this site, and I think it might take more data in overall, but I don't know if it's useful data. I don't know how man, I'm going to get rid of this because that is just so super bright. I don't know how accurate that kind of information is. This seems to be very accurate, right? If we look at the crypto fear and greed index here, when you're overbought, when you're in the very greedy form or greedy readings, you do see these high readings in the Bitcoin price. Whenever you get to this fearful readings, you do see low prices in Bitcoin as well, just like now. And the connection that I'm trying to make here is this, that the Bitcoin dominance, do you guys remember on a weekly basis what people were saying back here November 18th until like December 2nd, December 5th, the end of that week there, even up to these weeks? Do you guys remember what everybody was saying back here? It's alt season. Alt season is fine. Look up your favorite YouTuber besides me. Even me, probably, right? Everybody was talking about alt season starting back here. Everybody was, right? Absolutely everybody was. Nobody is talking about it here. In fact, everybody is saying alt season is not going to happen. We're not going to get an alt season. It's going to be weak. It's going to be wimpy. Everybody's pessimistic here. Look at the difference. Okay, when we were over here, that was November 18th. You go to the crypto fear and greed index here on CoinMarketCap, right? Where was it? It was over here. Yeah. So November 18th would have been right here. I'm going to go on the 30, maybe the 1 year period, so it's a little bit more clear. November 18th would have been right here. Our fear and greed index was in the greed zone. We were at readings that were above like 90, right? We're right now we're at a 38. Right now we're at a 38. We're in the fearful zone, which every time we've been in the fearful zone, we're at relative lows, okay? At least over the last year, more than that even, okay? When we're in the greedy zone, we're at relative highs. We're at the fearful zone now. We are clearly at a point where the Bitcoin dominance is about to tank. We have higher highs in the Bitcoin dominance. We have lower highs in the RSI on the weekly aspect, rejecting the overbought zone. Are you kidding me? People are fearful. Why do I keep going to the bright one? I'm going to delete that. People are fearful now where we're in the exact same scenario in the dominance as we were here when people were absurdly greedy. Every time we're in the greed, look at where we are in the price. We're at relative highs. When we're at the fear, we're at relative lows. We're about to get things going, you guys. That's all I'm trying to say by that, okay? It's very clear what's about to happen. And if you believe in things the way that I do, as far as like contrarianism goes, the markets are not meant to be your friends, right? Markets, crypto markets, stock markets, whatever, man, they're meant to take your money. Right? Ask most people around. If anybody's talking about making money, that they're only talking about their winnings. They're not talking about their losses, right? Most of the time people are like very loud about their winnings, but they're never loud about their losses. I would bet most people in crypto right now are losing money, right? Probably even, unfortunately, most of you are losing money in this game right now, right? And that should tell you something. Most people do lose money in the markets. Because why? Because they're wrong. Most people are wrong. Okay, most people are wrong. So by ways of contrarianism, wouldn't it make sense that the last time when everybody was screaming for alt season to start and we were at extremely greedy levels in the Bitcoin or in the crypto fear and greed index, but we're at this same areas now where to me, it's just even more obvious. We've got more bearish indications. It's so much more obvious that this is the beginning of alt season. And nobody's calling for it here. Nobody is. Everybody's calling for the opposite. And we're fearful. We're on the exact opposite end of the spectrum. Wouldn't it make sense if most people are wrong in the markets that we're going to do the opposite of what most people think? And I don't know your perspective. I only know my perspective. I'm bullish. But I would assume most people are scared. Most people are fearful. Again, I think CoinMarketCap, I think they do a good job with their fear and greed index. And then, of course, we can see that in the dominance. If you're not behind that at all, tell me now, right? Were people, we were all here in November, were people more ecstatic and excited that alt season was happening back then? Weren't they wrong? They were all wrong. I was wrong too. I thought it was alt season once we were at the lows here. I was basically the most wrong I could be. But we were all wrong. Now nobody's calling for alt season, right? By ways of contrarianism, by ways of thinking away from the herd, not in that herd mentality, because most people lose money in this game, which means most people are wrong. If you were to disagree with most people, wouldn't it make sense that we move up right now? Because again, most people here were thinking alt season starts. Most people now are not thinking that. Whether you're bullish or bearish, I don't know. But it certainly does feel like we're in a different kind of area. We go back to November 18th for Bitcoin, and we're not even in a different area. We're actually at higher prices. We're at higher prices now than we were back then, and the fear and greed index went from a 90-something read, an 87 to a 90, all the way down to a 38. It doesn't make sense. But that's the thing, man. Markets are not supposed to make sense. In fact, what most people consider as reasonable or as logical is the opposite of what will happen in the markets. I don't know what kind of range this is. It's a very ugly range, but I don't believe it's a double top, right? Double tops, if this was a double top you reject. You don't slowly consolidate week after week, forming higher lows, getting volume in at your lows if it's a double top. We're not going lower. I'm very confident in that. I think it's some kind of very oddly shaped diamond pattern. I really do. I think it's some very like oddly shaped kind of diamond. It's like on its side. I don't know. Diamond patterns are really weird. It could be a diamond pattern. It might not be a diamond pattern one way or another, though. We definitely have a symmetrical triangle here at the end, and we had a symmetrical triangle at the start. That tends to indicate a diamond pattern, but this middle space is just so weird. It's weird to me. Whatever it is, it certainly looks like we're coming to the end of this falling trend here, right? This relative falling wedge, this symmetrical triangle, whatever you want to call it. We're going to pick a side one way or another, okay? If we're looking at the daily RSI to help us choose which side that is, I'm going to guess that since we found support every single time on a daily aspect here since October of last year, and we haven't gone lower, right? I think we've had all the opportunities to go lower, but we just haven't done that. We found support in these areas before as well, but not as much as we have recently. I'm going to assume that we move up soon, okay? Let's look at the 4-hour time frame to confirm that, or see if we confirm that. To be fair, the 4-hour would suggest that we move down because we have lower highs, lower lows, and if anything, the 4-hour to me, it actually be suggested that we go down. Prove me wrong on that and get above the 60, that'll be fine, but the daily does look like we're going to go up. A little bit of confliction there. Let me look at the 1-hour. The 1-hour also looks like we're going to go down. So maybe on the short term, we do move down for Bitcoin. We're at 96.8K now. Maybe we move down a little bit, but I don't think we'll break out. You know, I definitely don't expect that we'd go below 95K. But over the days, over the weeks, the daily RSI is looking like it's postured in a good position to move up. The weekly RSI here, if it'll let me, it's right at the 60. Bouncing off the 60 is a very good thing, right? Getting overbought, coming down, bouncing out, and getting back to the overbought zone. Does it sound familiar? We kind of did the same thing over here, you know what I mean? We even started from similar areas. Got overbought. You went a little higher here. You went a little lower here. You went a little higher on your low here. You went a little lower on this low here, but you're still bouncing off the 60, which is a very positive thing. You haven't bounced off it yet, but once you get a green week to close, which I think this week will close green, 2 days, 21 hours left. I think it will close green. If it closes green, you get a bounce off the 60. That'll be a very nice look. If it doesn't close green, it's not detrimental. Again, I think over the next day, maybe even today, we move down a little bit. The 4-hour and the 1-hour are a little bit suggestive of some more downside. But I would suspect by the end of the week, we are at higher prices than we are now, which would again implicate that we have a green week. If it is red, but it's slightly red, we wouldn't move too much below the 60, and I think that would still give us a good position to bounce from next week still. So if we do close red, or if we don't close green, a little bit is not going to hurt us. A lot even won't hurt us, guys. I'm very confident we're about to move out to new all-time highs, but I'm personally not expecting that we move lower. Okay, so let's stop talking about all the metrics that are at play here, and let's just look at the price action and do some price predictions, and end on a good note there. From a high to a low, you moved up all the way to your 1886. You're consolidating at your 1618. My theory is that your next target would be 123K. Oftentimes with the 2272, Bitcoin especially likes to go just above it. So I think you reach for 130K. by the end of February, you'll be at 130K. You're at 97K now. I might be the only person calling for that, but I call it confidently. $125,000 to $135,000 is where I think we'll be by the end of February. By the end of March, I'm expecting something around $160,000 to $175,000, probably just below $175,000 there by the end of March. So this next move, that's what I'm thinking. I want to see and find if through any bull markets, if we can identify, a consolidation phase, a high to low, where we moved up to the 1886 and consolidated at the 1618 or the 1414. I just want to see that. I haven't done this yet. I just want to see if there's any times where we have done this exact kind of thing. Maybe even in this bull market, I wonder. Let's see. High to low here. 1414, not really. You went up a little bit higher, so not quite the same thing. What about this high to low here? I'm just looking for similar behaviors on the fibs. You went a little bit too high there for that metric. I think you also went to your 2618 here. Oh, you know what? On that note, that's actually kind of interesting. This is something that I've forgotten about, right? Let me show you guys what I'm seeing here. So high to low here, right? Your kind of last little crux right there, that high to low. You went grazed the 2272, okay? Found support on the 1618, 1414 area. You take the next high to low of that next consolidation phase here, high to low right here. You went all the way up to your 2618 right there, okay? 2618. You take the high to the low of that next phase, and you went all the way up to the 2618 again. High to low of this very large phase, maybe, just maybe, we'll move up to that 2618 or beyond, right? That agrees for $141,000. So at least if you can't get on board with 160 to 175K, at least get on board with 142K, because I feel like that's inevitable. But I do think we'll move up higher personally. I do think that we will. Because again, here, while it looks like we stopped at the 2618, and we did on all of these consolidation phases, here we stopped at the 1886. So implying that it would stop at the 2618, I don't think so. I mean, I think that we would go beyond that personally. And in fact, the way that we would do that is take this high to this low here. Actually, your 2618 there would suggest that we stop at about 150K. Just above this 2618 here. I don't know, tomato, whatever, man. 150K, 174K, 173, somewhere around there. I just want to see if I can find something similar to what Bitcoin's doing now in a prior cycle. Maybe not that cycle. What about this cycle? Maybe, maybe not. Look at that, right up to your 1886, 200 level, just like we did now. And then down to your 1272, so not down to your 1618, 1414, a little bit lower. But then you ran all the way up to your 3618 there. You went on a nonstop run. You were in a parabolic kind of move. I don't know, man. High to low here. You went up to your 1886, 200 level. You didn't pull all the way back to your 1272, but you still held your ground here. If you were to go to your 3618, that's 212,000, 227,000 at the 3618 there. You did that same kind of movement. Let's see what you did. I mean, you did that in about, from a low that was March 20th to a high June 5th. So 3 months, a quarter of a year. Yeah, less than a quarter of a year because it's the end of March, beginning of June. So that was a lot of growth, man. That was a lot of growth. That was a move from $900 all the way up to about $3,000. So you basically did a 2x, right? Or would that be a 3x? That'd be a 3x. Sorry. You added 2x, but with your 1x, it was a 3x total, right? So, I mean, just in that same kind of idea, in the next 3 months, if we were to see a 3x, I mean, here, that would actually be to the 3618. That would only be about 120 to 130%. If we saw a 3x, that'd be 200% growth. Maybe, I don't know, man. Maybe in the next quarter of a year, we're at 318K. I don't think so. I think in the next quarter of a year, 212 to 227 sounds good to me. But certainly by the end of February, I'm thinking we'll be at 123 to 130. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. Let's bring it back to the relevance here. Something around there. 140 to 173 by the end of March, and then we could talk about higher targets after that, okay? I got nothing else for you guys. I was just having a little bit of fun there at the end. I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see some content or more content like this. Thank you all for being here.